So one very important point as it relates to this overall topic that we fail to meet God's righteous standard is that we are unrighteous in our condition or our heart. We are unrighteous in our condition or our heart. And even before I go on, Van, I think that we'll see this pattern as our conversation goes forward, that we're unrighteous, we fail to meet God's standard in our hearts or our conditions. It bubbles up into our mouths, so we are unrighteous in our speech. And then it translates to our eyes, to our hands, to our feet, so we are unrighteous in our deeds. It bubbles up in a very, very ugly way from within us. But let's start with you, please, reading Romans 3 verses 10 through 12.
As it is written, there is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands. There is no one who seeks God. All have turned away. All alike have become worthless. There is no one who does what is good, not even one.
So, Van, there when it says that no one is righteous, again, righteous in comparison to God, when compared to God. I think a lot of people, when they view themselves as morally good or they view themselves as morally righteous, they're probably comparing themselves to other mere humans where, of course, they're going to feel like they're on level ground. But what Paul is doing is saying, God the Father, He is the perfect standard. He's the starting point. And in that regard, no one is righteous. And what we'll do now is we'll talk about no one is righteous in our hearts or our conditions. We all fall short of God's perfect standards. So, Van, my first question to you is, what is an example of how you are unrighteous in your inner life, in your very condition?
Well, when I think about my inner life, I suppose I'm thinking about my values, desires, thoughts, and they absolutely didn't line up with God's moral standards. And then even still today, it's sometimes a battle. But my values, I overvalued money for security and family more than God Himself. I desired, pleasure, enjoyment, entertainment more than God Himself. Maybe sports. I didn't want to give God any time in my life. I was too busy for God, and that really puts God in second place, if that, maybe third, fourth, fifth place. And then lastly, thoughts, I suppose. And I don't know if this is normal, but even still today, every once in a while, I'll have some kind of crazy thought come in my head out of nowhere, and I'll have to shake my head and say, whoa, where did that come from? What was that? And so, yeah, I don't know, maybe that's just embedded in me, inherently in us.
It's not easy to talk about our inner life, what we value and what we desire and what we think. It's scary. I've heard a number of people say that it would be incredibly shameful if people could see what went through our minds, if they could see our value system plastered up on a movie screen. It would be embarrassing, the things that come to mind. But yeah, I agree. The way we value money, the way we value power and fame, the way we value notoriety. And even, Van, this is hard to, embarrassing to talk about, but even that desire, sexual desire to be with someone apart from my wife. I mean, now that it's summertime, and everywhere you look, it seems like there are so many women that are not dressed modestly, and yet there's a tug within me to be gratified, and I have to fight by faith to control my heart, to control my eyes, and God have mercy on all of us. I don't want that to be true of me, but it seems like everywhere we turn in life, whether it's, as you said, entertainment or money or power, or lusting after people who we're not married to, those temptations are very real. And as we'll see toward the end of this conversation, God have mercy on us in and through the person of Jesus Christ, because only Jesus is the perfect, holy, and righteous one who can forgive our sins.
Well, I'm grateful for you, Jay, because you're a man who will actually talk and admit these types of things that most people will ignore or will not admit. They don't want to go deep and talk about these heart issues, and so it's really important for us to do that.